Hello, Drew. This video is for you. It's a continuation on some of the things that we were able to cover today in our guitar lesson, specifically targeted towards right hand finger picking on the guitar. So, what we covered today in our lesson was a good start. It's a good beginning. But this video is going to be more in depth on exercises and techniques that we can do through repetition to increase our familiarity with our right hand on our fingers, because it really is a new thing. We really haven't used our fingers much on the guitar. It's always been with the guitar pick like this. Okay, so having it feel new is kind of like transitioning from a bicycle with training wheels to riding with only 2 wheels. That's kind of an analogy that I like to use and think about because I think it's a fairly accurate one. So starting off, we want to make sure before we even pick up our guitar that we're relaxed. To have our muscles relaxed is very important, because if we have relaxed muscles, our reflex time is increased significantly, and also our accuracy with what we're doing and what we're doing with our muscles. Which means we're more efficient. So we're using less energy. So when we pluck with our fingers, if we're relaxed, we're gonna be more accurate without even trying, okay? So sort of being in a relaxed state is number one. I like to just hold my hand out like this and just make sure that every single thing is relaxed. And I kind of go through it mentally with my brain if I'm not relaxed, to sort of command each muscle, if you would, or each ligament, each segment of your fingers to relax. And by the end, you'd be amazed at how almost limp feeling your hand is compared to when you first started, okay? So that's step number one. What we're gonna wanna cover next in step number 2 is visualizing that X shape that we've talked about at the first goal of finger picking. We visualized an X shape. So the X crisscrossed like this. When you look down at it, when you look down at your right hand fingers, they made sort of an X shape. This X shape is very important when we pluck, okay? So when we pluck with our thumb, you asked today, do I pluck up or down? That's a good question. So with our thumb, it's normally responsible on a guitar for plucking the bottom 3 bass strings, the 6th, the 5th, and the 4th. You want to pluck down with your thumb. So in this X shape, you're plucking towards your fingers that are responsible for playing the top notes or the melodic notes, or you're plucking down towards the sound hole. So that's another way to remember it. With these top 3 fingers, for now, we're going to say that our index finger is responsible for plucking the 3rd string, G. Our middle finger is responsible for plucking the 2nd string, B. And our 3rd finger is responsible for plucking the 1st string, E. Now, this isn't always the case, but right now we're going to say this is the case for what we're doing. We're going to want to stick to this format for now, okay? But in all songs that require finger picking, it's not always like this. These rules are sort of guidelines to help us start out to learn the technique of finger picking. But in further music down the road, those rules will be broken, like most things in music. Okay, so starting off, that's a good thing to remember. Thumb is always down, pluck down. The 1st finger, the 2nd finger, and the 3rd finger, you're plucking up. Or towards my face, or towards my head, or whatever, however you want to visualize it. So that was a good question. I just dropped my lesson sheet from today. Okay, so that was a good question you asked today, and hopefully that clarifies and helps you with that. So now what I'm gonna go over is the exercise I wrote out on the bottom of your PDF from this lesson. It's the right hand finger picking exercise. I'm on the bottom of our lesson sheet. So go ahead and pull that out in front of you if you haven't already, because I'm going to go over how to play that right now and exactly what your right hand should look like as we play this exercise. So these chords are taken from the song we're learning, When the Saints Go Marching In. And if you'll notice, I chose these chords specifically because they utilize different strings. So what I mean by that is the G string here, or the G chord, utilizes all 6 strings on the guitar, okay? So in this context, I'm gonna play the G chord with my pinky, or my 4th finger, on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. My 2nd finger is gonna be on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. My 3rd finger is gonna be on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. I have that written out in your lesson here too. You're gonna wanna use this finger in here, okay? So these are the chords we're gonna be using: G major, C major, and D major. The G major utilizes all 6 strings. The C major utilizes all 5 strings. Notice the root starts here. The D major utilizes 4 strings. Okay, this is very important for this exercise because it's gonna require our thumb to start on different root notes down here, okay? So I'm gonna start off very slowly with the first exercise. So I'm starting off on the G string, or the G note on the 6th string here. Notice how I'm plucking the 6th, the 5th, and the 4th string, these lower bass notes, with my thumb. The top melodic notes are plucked with my index, middle, and ring finger. Play that one more time for you. The goal of this exercise is to be exact. We're gonna go, speed is not a factor here, and it shouldn't be. We should be going really slow, and we wanna make sure that each note is crystal clear and the notes are ringing for their full duration. We don't want any buzzing, and we don't want the notes to dampen and cut off suddenly, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next chord, the C major chord. One more time. Notice how I start on the 5th string now. Instead of starting, my root is on the 6th string for the G major chord. The C major chord, it's on the 5th string. Next is the D major chord. My root is starting on the 4th string now. So I went from 6th string to 5th string. Now my root is on the 4th string. This is an open D, so it looks like this. Okay, here's the exercise in its entirety, starting from the beginning. Repeat that over again. Okay, so I recommend practicing this exercise for 2 minutes. If you set your timer for 2 minutes, and you'd be surprised at how quickly that exercise goes for you if you're really focused and concentrated, which is the goal for all practice. Okay, it's just achieving that state of focused clarity, where 2 minutes kind of feels like 5 seconds. It's kind of fun. So hopefully that helps. We're starting off very simple here. We're gonna add more variations once time progresses. And I think really focusing on this exercise here and really having a visualization of what our right hand fingers are doing. Remember, we're really trying to focus on achieving thumb independence from the rest of our digits. This is very much key to learning how to finger pick with your right hand on guitar as quickly and effectively as we possibly can. Okay, so hopefully this helps you with practicing this week, and I hope it's fun. If you have any other questions, please, don't hesitate to reach out to me via text, call, email, whatever really works for you. I'm happy to do another Zoom call with you this week as well. Okay. I hope this helps. I will see you next week.